Hi, Derek Evans here for the Real Estate Radio Network. Today we're going to go through the steps of exactly what's going to happen from the moment that you sign up to host a show with the Real Estate Radio Network until the moment you're actually on the air hosting your first show. Now, if you're at this stage watching this video, you have already signed your letter of intent, submitted your investment for training, and it's now time for you to complete the new host questionnaire so we can learn more about you and your goals with your business and the show before we start to engage and look for the right station for you. Once we've received the new host questionnaire, it'll be time for two different calls to take place. Our onboarding coordinator will call you for the introduction call. This is so you can get introduced to the Real Estate Radio Network and the people you'll be working with. Now, the introduction call will just be some basic demographic information so we can learn even more about what stations might be better for you. The placement call will be with our placement coordinator, and that will be very, very detailed about your goals with your business, who your exact clients are, what their ages are, what the demographics are of the people you're looking to do business with as well. All this information is gathered so that we can make the best decision for you when it comes down to it as to what station is going to be most effective to help you achieve your goals. Once the introduction and placement calls have been completed, it's time for you to send us a professional picture and a logo if you wish for your promotional announcements. We will create these for you so that you can start the process of getting the word out about the new show. Now, of course, you're not going to send these until we have your placement completed so that you can put the radio station information in along with it. But we will create them for you as soon as we receive your professional picture. At this point in the process, we've already begun to research and negotiate for your airtime acquisition. Now, during this process, we're going to speak with a lot of different stations. We won't be getting anything in writing yet. We just want to get a feel for the market. What stations are available, which ones aren't, which ones would like to have our programs, and which ones wouldn't, so that you and I can sit down and decide, all right, which one of these stations is going to be best to accomplish the goals we want with this radio show. At that point in time, we will then go back to the stations that we like the most and get into the nitty-gritty details of the negotiation process. This way it's most efficient with time, and it allows us to speak as quickly as possible in this process about the stations that we have an opportunity with. This is a very important part of the process. It can take anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks, depending upon what market you're in. But this is a very important time for you to also be doing all of the training that we've given you up to this moment. Once we've decided the perfect station to launch your new radio show on, we will go ahead and execute the contract with that station. Of course, there'll be some paperwork you have to fill out first for the network. Once that's done and we've executed with the station, it's now time for you to start hitting the streets with the message. You are officially a radio show host, even though you haven't hosted your first show yet. But it's in the books. There's usually going to be about a 4 to 6 week window from the time we execute the contract with the station and the first show date. This gives plenty of time to reach out to potential show participants, sponsors, advertisers, and guests to make sure we've got the books full before we get on the mic for the very first time. At this time, the Real Estate Radio Network will deliver to you the completed package. This is all of our information in a nutshell. It's got the logos, all the letters, announcements, the scripts, everything is in here. It's a huge file. Download this file, go through it carefully and slowly. Take your time. Don't try to ingest all this information in one sitting. Go a little bit at a time and look at everything we provided. There's nothing in there that's filler. It's all important for you to understand how to host your radio show. Make the most of it. Of course, you'll be going and attending the webinars every single Monday and Wednesday that we'll be providing. This will also give you the content and information that you need, as well as a forum to ask the questions that you have along the way. The next thing for the network to do is send the production instructions to the station. This is typically going to give the station plenty of time in order for them to be able to produce all the ads, the intros, the bumpers, the rejoiners, and everything that we've created for them to put in with your show. Now, there are opportunities to amend these down the road, but for now we just need to get everything in place so that when you get in, your first show is going to be fully produced and is going to look like you've been on the air for a long time. That's the point of us doing this at this stage in the game. Now, the station will sometimes have questions about these, and they may direct them toward you, the host. That's okay. If they do, just contact the network, and we'll help you through it. It's now time to take your host announcements and get your letters and emails in the air. Since the station has been identified and the day and the time are solid now, we can actually start to hit the streets with the message of the fact that you are now the Real Estate Radio Network's newest radio show host. This is a huge message and an opportunity for you to get to your database and anyone that you want to. Doesn't just have to be people you already know. In fact, it should include at least half of people that you don't know, but that you'd like to. In the process of sending out your announcement letters and emails, you'll notice that it's now time to rebrand everything with the Real Estate Radio Network and radio show info. You'll have access to the logos like the one you see right here, and also a bunch of other things that will help you put together high quality email stationery and letterhead. All of this is included in the package. You'll want to do that before you start making the announcements so that you will be a radio show host first and a service provider second, and that will give you the angle you need to be super successful with the Real Estate Radio Network. At this time, the network will set up your Facebook page, email address, and so forth. This is a perfect time for you to be hitting the streets with this message. Remember, you've just sent out or are in the process of getting together to send out your new announcement letters and emails. So you're going to have a Facebook page to point them to that's associated with the Real Estate Radio Network Facebook page. You'll have a Real Estate Radio Network email address, and everything will be branded and synced up accordingly. This will help create the credibility you need to be most effective with your new announcement letters and emails. If it hasn't already taken place at this stage, you will have a business implementation coaching call with our business implementation specialist. This call will be going through exactly what you need to be doing right now at this stage in the game to make the most of the fact that you're a new host of a radio show. This is one of the most important calls in the process. If it hasn't happened at this point, it may have already, but if it hasn't, it will right here. There will be triggers in our system that will make sure that it occurs. This is one of those calls you take your time with. Do not rush through this call. Soak it in. Make sure you don't have other things distracting you. This is where you will get the most out of how you can get a quick ROI with the Real Estate Radio Network. At this point, you've been attending our weekly webinars, our coaching calls on Mondays and Wednesdays. However, you can go back at this point and watch all of the previous webinars we've ever done. They are all recorded and in the training video library. Highly suggest at this point you start watching all of these if you really want to have all the information you possibly can before you host your first show. There is a wealth of knowledge in those coaching calls. It is absolutely priceless. Take the time. Don't watch 10 of them in a day, but try to get one in every single day until you've seen them all. One of the things you'll notice in those webinars is that we talk a lot about building your interest list for potential show partners and sponsors. Building this interest list is the first step in promoting your show, A, and B, finding out what service providers in the local area are going to be interested in being paying participants in coming on the show. Remember, once the show is fully sponsored, you have a free avenue to market yourself, which is the best tool in history for creating referral business. At this point, you will be receiving a daily email with a host training video lesson. You should complete all of these sessions as quickly as you can. You will have a link to do that at your own leisure. Although we will only automatically email you one a day because we don't want to overload you with emails at this point, you should go in and watch as many of these as you can, 3 or 4 a day at the most, so that you can have all this information ready to go. Now, you'll get more out of these videos once you start hosting your show. Remember, that's when the training really starts. There's only so much you can do to prepare for being on the air. You get the most out of it once you've been on the air and we actually have something that we can review with you and look at and critique. That's when you start to really learn as a host. But there's no sense in not being fully prepared and using all of the resources that we've provided. We will also be giving you specific links to different podcasts of our programs that we think you should listen to. We've chosen these shows on purpose because we know that there are certain things in there that you need to get from them. Make sure you listen to these shows. Don't go listen to some random shows on random websites from random hosts. Listen to the ones that we have created for you because these are the ones you will learn the most from. Now it's time for your Real Estate Radio Network website. You'll be getting a website at realestateradiohost.com/your first and last name. This is the place where you'll be able to put the podcast for your shows. You'll be able to put blog entries, pictures, everything. You should be directing everyone to this site. Now, keep in mind, if you have a domain you want to use, you can always forward that domain to this specific site. So it doesn't matter if you've got a different domain you want to use. There's absolutely no problem there. But this is where you're going to want to push the traffic, because it's going to show that you're a part of something bigger than just one radio show. You're a part of a nationwide network of professionals. This is huge. Remember the interest list we were working on earlier? It's now time to start following up with the interest list, the people who are interested in coming on the radio show. Now you want to actually start setting up the interviews. You're going to conduct the interviews with your interest list for show participants at their place of business. Make sure you watch the video titled How to Get Sponsors. It will tell you exactly how to execute this strategy to be most effective. These are important times to get this process started. Many of the people that you'll be interviewing will want to hear the show first, and that's fine. But you'll want to have as many fish on the hook as you can, so that once they hear it, they'll want to be a part of it. At this time, if it hasn't already happened, the network will schedule a tour of the studio for you. When you go to the studio, you'll be cutting a couple of ads. You'll also be seeing exactly where you're going to be doing the radio show and meeting your board operator and producers. This is a very cool experience and something where you should definitely take a camera. Get a couple pictures of yourself behind the mic as soon as you can, because we'll want to post those on our Facebook page, and you'll want those to show people how much fun you're having, so they'll want to be a part of it too. Every Wednesday on our designated coaching call at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be releasing the program content for the show that week. And once the new host is ready to host their first show, they'll want to download this program content and become familiar with the format. Once you've done that, now you're going to be ready to go live and do your first show on the air as a host with the Real Estate Radio Network. Congratulations. You are now the newest radio show host in America. And I always like to say, once you've lived life as a radio show host, you can never go back to being just like everybody else. And remember, there's no such thing as a boring story, only boring storytellers. So always be interesting, always pay attention, and always reach out, because we're here to help.